Welcome back to another video on the Honda powered Porsche. In this video, we're going to get the seat mounted in there. I want to be able to sit in there with the slider, everything by the end of this episode. That needs to happen so that we can get the dash done, all that kind of stuff, and we're in the right spot. So let's go measure up some metal that I've got off the side of the road, and we're going to get that all measured up, cut, and welded into the chassis. So I just have to measure up this again. So we're looking at basically 18 inches. So let's just cut just over 18 inches and that'll be our starting point. So as always, cut everything a little bigger than you need and then trim it down nicely. So this is going to slot in here. So we just have to take off maybe 5 mil, maybe 5 mil. So we'll take off 5 mil, refit it up, and then see how it squeezes down. So we've got that to fit in nicely. At this point, we just need to make sure that it's level. It's all tucked up there. So basically the idea is that we'll level this, and this is our new point for the front of the seat rail mount. So we'll get that level and just tacked in. Now that I know that that fits there as expected, I'm going to measure this up and cut 2 more as kind of just the base of this. I'm actually going to tilt it a tiny bit. I don't know if I want to tilt this or if I tilt the seat. The seat's already tilted, but actually having the plate tilted or the mounting point tilted might make more sense. So, or I keep it all level. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep it all level, and then the seat itself, the mounting points on the seat can be what tilts it. So let's get 2 more of these cut up to be the same length, and then we can get positioning them. So I just have it basically on a tilt for now. I just want to confirm that everything fits in. So I'm going to grab the seat, position it up. Nothing is tacked in or anything. I still need to drill holes to do the nutserts, all that kind of stuff, but this is kind of looking pretty solid. So I'm exactly 6 feet. And so my goal, I don't know if my seating position, I do like a little bit of bend in my arms. Everyone's different. Everyone is very different with their seating positions. Me, I like a little bit of bend in my arms. Some people like no bend in their arms. Others like a lot. I like a good elbow. I like a good degree in my elbow, you know. So I'm just gonna mount this up very loosely and see if we're in the ballpark for where things are gonna go. Where did my son put everything? All right, so we've got the hub. I might need to scoot the seat back, which is kind of what I anticipated, to be honest. Although, oh, Jesus Christ, on a stick. Get it? Get it? Jesus Christ on a stick. Get it? All right, hang on a second. We gotta take the seat out before I do that. So that cannot take any weight while balancing. So let's get that out of there. Steering wheel back in. And then basically just get that all level at the right distance. And I might actually bolt the slider to the seat and then we'll go from there. But first up, let's get this back on. So this is probably one of the nicer things on the car. This is Battlecraft's quick disconnect. So we're just gonna put it on as much as, I'll probably only put 3 bolts in. Doesn't need to be fully tight either. It's more or less just making sure that I know where the steering wheel is going to sit in relation to the seat. So get that in there. The slider will be helpful given that we can move the position back and forth based on height. But I really want like the base position to be set up for me. So I don't want to be adjusting it for myself. You know what I mean? Like this is when I do the adjustment for myself. All right, Battlecraft quick disconnect on. Nice and tight. We're there. Excellent. Let's line everything back up. I'm going to install the sliders onto the seat itself first. This is my little contraption to get everything welded in. So I'm just going to tack this up and we'll basically then measure up 12 from the center point of this, 12 inches this way, and that'll be where our back one goes in. So let's just tack these in, see how we go. Probably blow through some metal. So I welded the back in the wrong spot, off by 1/2 inch. So I just cut it out, but marked up this. This one is how I figured out that I was off by 1/2 inch. I actually put an M8 nut in there, an M8 riv nut, and put everything together. And yeah, so I just cut it out. We'll get another tube cut up and we'll weld that in tomorrow. So gonna leave this here for now. This is in pretty sturdy. So it's the next morning, bright and early. I'm gonna try and get this done in the next kind of like 45 minutes so that I can actually make it to work on time. We've all come down with a pretty good sickness, but that doesn't stop me wanting to get this done. So I'm gonna cut up another rail because the last night we fucked up the second rail. So I'm gonna cut up a new one. We're gonna tack it in and get that going. So I've got about 45 minutes to get as much done as possible. So I don't know if I'm gonna record enough, but whatever. So let's get straight into this rear rail. So you can see where I had the last one positioned, which was just along here. We actually need to go back basically 1 inch. So just gonna trim that up and then we'll get that welded in there. Get it all marked up and grind that back and we'll go from there. There's a little bit of slag that I got to get off. So I'm going to start trimming this down, make sure it fits nicely, and we'll clean up the weld on the tunnel. All right, so I thought I'd measured properly, but I basically need to measure from this center point to this one. That is my goal, to measure to this one. So basically go center point to center point, and we need it to be basically 12 1/4. 12 1/4 to the center of the next one. All right, so we're all in position. I'm just going to tack this in now, and then hopefully we can measure up and make sure that we're all in the right spot. Let's see how we go. Is that straight? I'm like triple checking absolutely everything. Should be 12 1/4. That looks good. All right, here we go. Let's tack it in. So now that we're tacked in, I'm going to put the seat back on there and make sure everything still measures up nicely. This will save me from having to cut out an entire weld again. So I actually think to confirm that I'm in the right spot, I need to mount this correctly. So I'm going to drill and riv nut this so that we can mount it all down, then I can measure up everything. But we're in the right ballpark. This is super time consuming, but we're at least mounted. This is pretty solid. I just need to do the back still, but I want to make sure that I can get in and out. Everything feels comfortable. Okay, so I need to, this is all the way back. This is basically where I'm going to be, which is bang on perfect. I can see the dash. I'm happy with this. Clutch is good, brake is good, accelerator is good. I'm in the right spot for myself. This is where I like to be in relation. So you can see I have an angle to my arms, not too drastic, but comfortable. I can even probably scooch back a tiny bit, but we're in the ballpark. So, oh, that's a bit of a reach though. So I might have to be here. That's better. And I can reach all of the important ones. Yeah, if I'm strapped in, I can reach everything. Okay, height, I'm pretty close. I expected to not have much room up here. But honestly, it's gonna be a while before this is a full cage and everything like that. I'm happy with this. All right, let's get the back in. Let's get the back mounted up. I've got to make sure that everything is in the right spot. All right, I don't know how this is gonna go, but you can see here, we're all aligned, we're in the center, so I'm gonna drill and riv nut it, and then we can basically bolt it in. We're all lined up on the other side as well. So now we just quickly take it all apart again. And now that those holes are marked up, we can then get a hole punch and get that mounted. And then that's the seat basically mounted. I might want to switch to some different headed nuts or headed bolts just so that I can get full range. Seems that this does actually collide with the rail, but we can do that at any point. Okay, so now that this is disconnected, let's put that there. We'll grab our hole punch. We'll make sure we're in the center of the circle that I drew. And then the center of this one. And then we drill them out. Oh, one more. That's that one. And oh, it's walking. And oh, a little bit more. And that one. Perfect. Make sure we're aligned. Alright. So there's one. This is pretty temporary. I don't think I've mentioned this yet. But if and when this gearbox explodes, we're actually going to cut the entire tunnel out and redo all of this. So right now, this is kind of temporary solution so that I can drive around the block and probably drive it on a couple of road trips, but that's where we're at. We are welded in. So let's get this seat in, get it all bolted up for the last time. Who knows how many times this is coming in now. And let's see if these are gonna fit. I think they might. Oh yeah, okay, so we should be able to get full range of motion now that these, so I have these bolts, these M8s that I'm going to use instead of these chunky ones. So you can see the height difference is pretty intense. But for now, this should get us. My goal is I just want to bolt this in. We got to take it out still, finish welding, spray it with some black steel it. But other than that, we're pretty much there. We are mounted in. We're as low as we can be with the rails. Now, obviously this I could actually mount static and I'd fit nicely. I wouldn't be 100% comfortable, but we'd still fit pretty nicely in here. I'm actually just going to back these off a tiny bit so that I can position everything still. So just, is that enough to slide? Great. Okay, so there you go, full range now. Okay, so let's get this all bolted up. We're basically mounted. Let's throw that in there. Let's put it back to there. It's basically as far back as it can go without hitting the half cage. Well, let's jump in. Oh yeah. So that's as far back as it can go. This is as far. This is basically where I feel like I'm gonna sit, which I'll capture where that's sitting on the rail, but it's almost exactly in the middle. So I'm feeling very happy with how everything is fitting. I'm honestly not too worried about how the welds are going to look, given that this is underneath the seat, and honestly, we just need them to be strong. So I'm going to focus on getting strength into the metal, and then we can just clean them up with a flapper disc. Alright, so I just hit it with some black steel with the bolts in there. So I'm going to remove the bolts quickly before everything dries, and then we're just going to let it sit and dry. So that's a big project done. Once the paint dries, I'm going to reinstall the seat, get some beauty shots, and call it a video. So in the meantime, thanks for commenting, thanks for liking, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it all. I edited everything, I uploaded it, and I shared it to a few of my closest friends. And Josh called me out for my welds. He said, "What is this?" He said, "Brother, ew." So you know what? I'm gonna pull the seat out, I'm gonna redo the welds, and hopefully they're up to Josh's standards. So you get a little extra in this video. So honestly, they're not actually that bad. They're strong, they're ground down a little, but you know what? Just for Josh, we're gonna grind them down, and we're gonna try and lay a very nice bead. So, you know what? Practice makes perfect. So we're going for it. So I just need to grind down a little bit on this bar so that I can get to a nice ground, and then we can keep moving. But as you can see, the material isn't as good as it probably should be. We're getting there though. We're just slow and steady, tack, tack, pull. I'm gonna try and pull instead of push and see if that helps a little. Is that a little bit better, Josh? Is that a little bit better or a lot of bit better? I don't know. So I just cleaned it up a little bit. I'm gonna give it another pass, just make sure that we're all really structurally sound in there. So pulling, definitely I'm better at pulling a weld. So I'm gonna do that again. We're gonna pull, make sure that we've got good penetration on both sides. So let's definitely stitched to the tunnel now. Now I'm going to build up the weld below it, grind it down, and then join them again. Oh yeah, you can see the build up there. That looks pretty well in there. I'm just going to give it one more pass and I think that's it. There you go. There you go. I feel like everyone should be happier with these welds. I'm going to grind them down flat. So I just ground down these two. Those ones are visible, so make them nice and pretty. And then these ones I'm going to keep with the strength in the weld. So we're going to coat this with steel it again and let it sit, and then I'll reinstall the seat. I just want to shout out Josh. It's always nice having a friend that's in your corner that wants you to do better, and I'm very appreciative for you pushing me to do better with those welds. Hopefully the new ones suffice, but if they don't, well, you're just going to have to drive the car harder, or while you're hard, you pick. In the meantime, thanks for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one.